Good evening, Minister. There are some points I'd like to make on the proposed bill, but I will be supporting the bill. I think it's time we had statutory footing. But just to outline that currently schools do engage with students and parents, and you'll find most of them already have a charter. So, for example, the blow is taken from a Wexford school website, that of a second-level school, and it reads, "Working together as a school community, the Board of Management, parents, staff and students aim to provide an environment that will allow each student to develop intellectually, physically, morally, socially and spiritually, so that she will be able to fulfil her role in society." Obviously, it's a second-level girls' school. But also there are parent associations who do great work and naturally have a vested interest. The new bill proposes to set out a framework as to how schools engage with students and parents, and it will be put in a statutory footing, which I believe is appropriate for the times we're in. So essentially what's in the bill is being done, but not in a structured way, and so it's appropriate to regularise that. In short, the bill sets out what is and is not to go into a charter. It will bring consistency and uniformity among schools as to what parents and students are entitled to know, how to pursue a grievance, and have the right to have their say in how their children are educated, put on a statutory footing, and that's only fitting. It also updates the 1998 Act with various amendments. It includes for the Ombudsman for Children as a stakeholder, which is also appropriate, but importantly, Section 27C gives the Minister power to issue directions to the Board of Management if the new charter requirements are not implemented, and to give a board time limit to comply. So in effect, this Act is a compliance measure. But Minister, there's an issue that many of my constituents have raised with me, and that is that they are requesting a review of the Board of Management structure. And they're asking that that would happen sooner rather than later. I have a number of constituents. Some are current board members, some are resigned board members, some are clergy, many are parents and professionals, ultimately the go-to people seen as Board of Management material, as it were. But the one thing they all have in common is that they no longer wish to serve on the Board of Management. And those still serving have expressed the great difficulty in recruiting members, and there's also a feeling that the extent of legislation and regulation today is beyond that of a volunteer structure. So I believe a review is timely, and that may take the form of a consultation process to begin with, but equally it was suggested that the cluster model that's used to deal with secretarial skills, shared teacher substitutes, might be expanded to a HR footing on a similar basis. Which, in fairness, ministers, HR today is a science in itself. So the post-COVID, it is anticipated that that scenario will become much worse. So, Minister, I would appreciate if your department might engage with me on that. And for the day that's in it, unfortunately, the newspaper reports that have been emerging over the last month, whereby it's dictating now that students are going to be at an immense disadvantage and disappointment because points may rise for the preferred course that they have chosen. Now, I know that as a minister, and all ministers in your department, but previously Minister Foley is a school teacher, so she would have great insight into how the system works and the disappointments on an annual basis normally, but equally I expect that you can come up with a solution if at all possible, and I'd ask whatever needs to be done to reassure students, and I'm asking that on a human level, a mental level, and whilst I can attest to not all is not lost should you not attain the course you wish to attend at third level, but I'm almost 50 years of age and I know how to deal with that, but I think it can be very difficult, particularly the strain that COVID has caused on students, you know, and I really think it has been hard to bear for many of them. So I've no doubt that the Minister, that this is on your mind also and that of the departments, and I'd ask you to take care of that in the best way possible. I would at this stage like to invite any minister from the department to the county of Wexford. There's, not unlike my other colleagues, there's a number of schools in the county that don't have physical gyms, in which case students most certainly need to be able to do their physical activity. One such school is the CBS in New Ross, the Holy Faith School in Rossberkin, and Ramsgrange Community School, who expect to put in planning permission for an extension. I hope certainly they'll be successful in getting their planning. But also, Minister, there's one other issue that I really would like to raise today, and that is that when we get our children back to school in September, that we will not have to look at pods and the separation. I think the anxiety levels of our primary school children have been raised, and I think that it's going to cause serious damage for how they will develop both socially and mentally for the future. So I'm really serious when I say that your department needs to consider this damage and that it's not going to be appropriate in September. And I do hope, Count Corley, that we will have a good handle on COVID by September, particularly in that age category, that we can look at other ways other than separation and social isolation for small children at primary school level. Thank you.